Hello and welcome back to the Open Resorcery. It's Devi, and today we're going to be talking about spiritual hygiene. So I know we've talked a lot about cleansing in terms of cleansing yourself, cleansing your space, keeping things clean in terms of a spiritual nature, because we don't want buildup of nasty energy or stagnant energy. It doesn't necessarily have to be nasty, but build up stagnant energy, things that you don't want in your space so things can continue to flow. Spiritual hygiene, it's kind of pulling some of that in, but I want to talk more frequency, right? So in terms of the cleanliness, we're going to go over several different aspects. So first, of the self. All right. There is a lesson that I took, and I keep it with me, even though me and my parentage, we are not communicative for many years, right? We don't talk. We don't connect to each other. I have orphaned myself in a sense. But there was a lesson that they taught me that was incredibly important, and I even passed it on to my kids. The people that you allow around you, that you entertain on a day-to-day basis, that you permit into your space. It doesn't matter how much you think you have a wall up. It doesn't matter how much you believe that what they do doesn't affect you. It does. See, we are all incredibly permeable. It doesn't matter how much of a stone wall you think you've got up. You don't. You do not. Their energy is going to seep into you. Their actions are going to seep into you. Their bad decisions or their destructive tendencies are going to seep into you. Conversely, those that are striving for higher, those that are striving for greater, those that are good and want good for you and want good for that which is around them, that's going to seep into you too. You become a direct reflection of that which you surround yourself in. Just keep that in mind. So, spiritual hygiene, starting there. If you are constantly around people that are depressed, if you are constantly around those that do not know their way, if you are constantly having to save people from themselves, that doesn't make you a rescuer. And eventually you will start drowning, because all of them are going to try and buoy themselves up by pulling you down. And that's how it happens. And it's sad. It's incredibly sad. And this is why genuinely I think a lot of therapists burn out. Why a lot of counselors burn out. Because they're like, I am a light that I am shining and da 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 da. Sounds great. Sounds awesome. But here's the thing. Whenever you have that many people that are dependent on you and they are literally bringing you their shit. And it doesn't matter if you are spiritual, if you are into the magical communities, if you have beliefs that are in that realm. It doesn't matter whether you believe it or not. Whether you are completely mundane, this is here, this is now, this is it, this is all that ever will be. And when we die, we're taking a dirt nap and we're disintegrating and we don't exist anywhere else. It doesn't matter what your belief system is. That starts to weigh on you over time. And this is why in those fields, I am going to say your spiritual hygiene, your emotional hygiene, your work-life balance, and the way that you carry yourself is going to matter so incredibly much. You could be the mom friend, the one where you are there for everybody. You are that 3 a.m. friend. They're calling you up like, I am having a mental breakdown. There is going to be a time, and there is going to be a place where you just He can't do it anymore. And I want you to not feel guilty for that, because that is one of the first tenets of spiritual hygiene. You can't save everyone, and not everyone is good for you. And just because somebody is extending their hand out doesn't mean you have to grab it. Not all energy is good energy. And I know that's really hard for those that want to help, that want to be there, that want to be involved, that want to really get in there and solve the problems. And we're going to be the saviors of the world, guys. I'm sorry. That's not how it works. The way around this, to be able to do these things, is going to be community. It is going to be balance. And genuinely, these people only need to be working like once, twice a week. These angels among us. Because otherwise, they are going to burn out. And it's hard. It's really, really hard. Because we don't want to see anybody else suffer. Majority of people, I do believe, are inherently good. We just have the bad ones that are very loud. But just because they are loud does not mean that they are many. So I need you to find peace in your solitude, in a sense. Not necessarily cut everyone off and just do your own thing for you. No. I need you to genuinely search yourself and figure out, okay, are these relationships good for me? As much as I am giving, are they returning that effort? Not necessarily in a every action needs a reaction. Excuse me. But more so in a, are they grateful for my efforts? Do they listen when I speak? Do they take my advice to heart? And of course, another caveat there. They don't have to, of course, move the way that you say to move. But taking it under consideration and actually listening when you speak is very, very important. The second part of this, for our personal selves, right? Just our mundane lives and who we surround ourselves with. And there I'm going to go social media. Not only social media, but I'm also going to include normal, traditional media. And I put heavy quotations on that because, like me, I know many, many, many people have stopped tuning in to traditional media because, let's be frank, we see it as absolute propaganda. Pardon me, I do have allergies that are going on at present because the weather is going wonky. So, social media, traditional media, one of the things that I hate to hear because this is my guilty pleasure in a sense, but it also can bring me down because, like I said, it doesn't matter how much of a stone wall you think you have up. We are all incredibly permeable. Watching these things unfold, watching these things happen, being aware of them is not a bad thing. But if you are literally just consuming it, and that panic is filling you because there are a lot of things that are happening all at the same time, how is that going to help you on your day-to-day basis? How is that going to help you on your journey? I am not diminishing what is going on. I am not minimizing what is going on. And of course, staying informed is important. But do not be consumed by it. And here I am going to recommend a limit to screen time. And I know that's a very mom thing to say. That is an incredibly mom thing to say. But think about it. We didn't have this kind of widespread phenomenon necessarily until 20 years, 25 years ago. And even before then, we had the news, but we had to wait until like 6 o'clock at night to get any form of news, and it lasted an hour, and that was it. Now, obviously, I'm on TikTok. I love my TikTok, and I trust that in regards to what I can see. I can visually see these things happen, and I love that people are drawing attention to it. But if you do not put a limit on yourself, where you are preventing these things from completely infiltrating you, like I said, not in a way to say that TikTok or social media itself is bad, but the fanaticism, the over radicalization that can happen in an instant. Yes, we need to be aware. And yes, awareness is absolutely necessary. But we do not need to completely devote ourselves to finding this knowledge. We can depend on everyone to have a little piece come together, and it's like, hey, here's the full picture. This is what we know. Let's act upon it. And that's going to come to that community that you have behind you, those friends that we were talking about in the first part. You'll have to balance each other out. It cannot be just give and give and give, or take and take and take. It has to be a balancing act. Now, the next thing we're going to talk about in terms of your personal mundane self. Going outside and touching some fucking grass. Yes, it is absolutely necessary. And as somebody who in my everyday work, I work night shift. I don't get the opportunity to be in the sun that often. And quite frankly, I've developed quite a sensitivity to the sun with my eyes because of it, which sucks. But being outside, being in nature, going for walks, getting yourself away from the technology is absolutely necessary. It is absolutely needed. And I know I sound like a mom harping on a 13-year-old to put down your damn phone. I get it. But it is needed. Put the games away. Life doesn't happen in a game. Life happens right in front of you. And as mundane as it sounds, it is absolutely necessary for a spiritual journey and for a spiritual person. I know you've probably seen the memes about, when was the last time you watered your water sign? Or when was the last time you grounded your earth sign? Or went to a bonfire with your fire sign. Like, all of that. Yes, in a sense. Think about it. What fascinates you about this earth? What kind of nature do you like? Are you a person that would prefer to be walking at the beach, or walking on a shoreline at a lake, walking along a creek? Are you somebody that would prefer to go on mountain hikes, or in a desert, go hiking in a desert? Find your biome. Find the thing that makes you happy. And I know sometimes it's going to require some travel and some vacation planning. But preferably find something that is similar around you in your area, where you are able to get away from tech. I'm sure everyone knows that technology puts off a lot of different frequencies, and frequencies have a tendency to manipulate the behavior around it. And it can be incredibly addicting because we get instant gratification off of the technology that we have. oh, I can go build a farm and da-da-da-da game and I'm harvesting already. But in real life, you wouldn't be able to harvest for like 2 months if you planted and took care of stuff, and it would take a lot more effort and a lot more work, right? But it's a lot more satisfying when you actually think about it. These things, these pieces of tech they're tools. They are tools for communication, for education, for gaining knowledge, for so many different things. But they have been used to capture our attention over and over and over again, to the point that we can barely get away from a damn computer screen. We carry little mini computers around in our pockets. They have become electronic leashes instead of a freeing concept now. So I'm going to say, as part of spiritual hygiene, it is so important to take time away from tech. And I know that sucks. As somebody that very much, I love my video games. I love talking to people. I love my TikTok. I like being informed. I like knowing things. I like reading things as they come. But taking that time outside, observing the world around me, digging my toes into the damn dirt, that's important. Taking my kids to a playground and going and playing with them on the playground instead of just observing, that's important. And that is a heavy part of spiritual hygiene, that in the modern age, we have swung way too far on the pendulum, and we have to bring it back. We really have to bring it back. Because it's not healthy. And I think we all know. We all know it's not healthy. Spiritual hygiene in terms of food. All right. Your girl likes pizza. Your girl likes bread. Your girl likes processed foods. But let's be real. That's not healthy for us, and we know it. There's been so many studies, and I'm not going to tell you what diet you have to follow and things like that. But whole foods, it's good for your mind, your body, your soul. It's good for you. And I'm not talking like the GMO kind of crap, or, the stuff that has incredible amounts of insecticide. No, I'm talking about the actual healthy stuff, preferably homegrown. Although I have a horrible green thumb where it's not very green. I hope to get there one day. But healthy food is absolutely a part of a spiritual experience, because it's allowing the body to do more of the work that it's supposed to. Everything in balance, right? And everything in balance in spiritual hygiene, it leaks more into the everyday, in the mundane life, more than you'd think. So I'm not going to tell you exactly what to eat, but be mindful of what you're eating. Be mindful of what you're consuming. If you find yourself in that insatiable appetite, explore it. Figure it out. There are so many people that have so many different kinds of illnesses that are because of food nowadays. Imagine that. Just really wrap your head around it. Because of the quality and quantity of food at present, there are people that are deathly ill. That's wild, don't you think? The food is meant to nourish us. Mind, body, and soul. And I know for me, I love me a good pizza, but I know that ain't feeding nothing but my stomach. There's my sugar cravings. But it doesn't actually nourish the way that it's supposed to. So, whole foods, fruits and vegetables, potentially meats in there, but there are so many mixed reviews on that. That completely depends on you. I'm not going to tell you what to eat, but go more towards the unprocessed stuff rather than the easy, I could stick it in a microwave and be done with it kind of stuff. So there's the body. There's the mundane. How about we talk about our divinatory tools? How we're cleansing ourselves and maintaining our spiritual hygiene in that regard. So divination and the divinatory tools that we use. If we're using them for other people, we need to be cleaning them on a regular basis. Every other day, every third day, just a couple times a week. If we're using them on other people. Potentially, if a client has enough bad energy going on or really potent, strong energy, after that reading. Absolutely after that reading. Now for me, what I have been doing for my clientele is in my mental space, I will guide that energy into a room. It's a neutral space, so I'm not taking in their energy. They're not taking in mine. So that I'm able to see and guide from there. Yes, there's going to be leakages because we're people. This is not a perfect system, right? And then at the end of my readings, I always go to alchemize it and send the energy back to the client. Taking that negativity that they may have dumped on me, taking the heartache, whatever it might be, anxiety, turning it back into neutral, and sending it back to the client. Because it's not mine to hold. It's not mine to hold. And whether you're doing, an LBRP, whether you're smoke cleansing with incense, whether you're doing Koso rays, whether you're just sitting there and imagining yourself, pushing everything out from within you, like creating a bubble of space that's just pushing all that gunk out of your body, that's just growing. Whatever you have to do to get that energy off of you and away from you. Divination, doing divinatory services, things of that nature, you are connecting with not only that person, their guides, their spirits, whom they are looking for the reading about. Because a lot of times, let's be honest, people are coming to me being like, okay, how does this person feel about me? How can this relationship go forward? And whether it's good, whether it's bad, they have feelings about it. They feel some type of way. Their guides feel some type of way. And all energy leaves signatures. So we got to make sure those signatures go away and we are not taking in all that crap. Your actual tools, whatever your tools are, they need to be cleaned regularly. You're using them for a commercial purpose. You're using them for other people. Before you ever use them for yourself, cleanse them. Cleanse them. Smoke cleanse through a candle. Blessed oil. Whatever you need to do to cleanse them. I know some of them, some things can be submerged in water, others can't, quite obviously. Figure out which way to cleanse it works best for your tools. I've spoken on that before. And of course, yourself. Because you are the one that is divining, you are the one that is connecting, right? Not all energy is good energy. Not all energy is ones that you want to hold on to, just like friends. And if we're not talking a commercial purpose, we're just talking for individual purpose, you are using the divinatory tools only for yourself, you still need to cleanse that shit. Let's be real. You're not necessarily going to have the same kind of energy day to day. You might have a really fucking bad day. A really fucking bad day, right? What happens after that bad day is done and you go to try and divine again, but that energy of that bad day is left on your tools? That bad day has left its imprint in your deck. Cleanse that shit. Clean that shit. Familiarity can breed resentment in that case. Your tools are sentient in a sense. Just remember that. Just remember they are semi-sentient. They're going to have their own attitudes and personalities and things of that nature. And I'm sure everyone that has tried divination of any sort will tell you the same. Because there are some tarot decks that are absolutely sassy. And there are other ones that try not to hurt your feelings but will tell you the truth. It's hilarious when it happens. But I can promise you, everyone that has ever read tarot and can feel them, they know. They know exactly what I'm talking about. Let's talk about deities. All right. So, deity work. You're connecting with the divine. You're doing altar work. You have been praying or going to this being. Just because it's an open channel at the altar doesn't mean that you need to keep that open channel at all times. Your privacy is your privacy, right? And we cannot put human morality on deities. Just remember that. Deities, angels, demons, doesn't matter what you're working with. You devote your altar time to your altar time. If you want them around, if you want them in your space, put those caveats in there that they are allowed in your space as long as they do not mean harm, ill will, ill intent to anyone that is in your space you are connected to or is in your surroundings. Especially for those that are in apartment complexes. Because you don't know if they're going to go mess up stuff in downstairs apartment. If you're somebody that follows Loki, what you doing? Make sure you put that caveat in there. Those are relationships. Dare I say, deity work can end up in a kind of a friendship. It is a relationship with the divine, with that emanation of the divine. Just as you need to put boundaries up with people that you have to see on a day-to-day basis, maybe a coworker that doesn't know when to shut the fuck up, and so you're like, excuse me, I have to get my work done. Put up those boundaries with deities as well. There are some things that, quite frankly, they don't need to be meddling in. And you need to put those caveats up. And that is a good part of spiritual hygiene. Let's be frank. If you're literally having to go and ask your deity a question or questioning every single action that you are taking, you are no longer participating in the autonomy of your life. You are now dependent upon that being, that entity, that spirit, whatever you want to call them, for the decisions that you are making in your day-to-day. You are no more than a puppet at that point. Don't allow yourself to fall into that. As people, we have the autonomy. Maintain your autonomy. Maintain your spiritual hygiene. For spaces, I've talked about the many different ways to cleanse spaces. My favorite is frankincense and myrrh incense. Also on the cinnamon talk that I did just a little bit ago, benzoin resin. That one's also incredibly good. Clear out the space, fill it up with potential for, abundance. If you don't handle smoke well, but you can handle fragrances, you can always make your own smokeless smudge. I have some. I can put the recipe up. That's fine. It's literally going to be baking soda, lavender flowers, peppermint and lavender essential oils. Now, I typically do prayers over mine in order to kind of like charge it up so that it has that more potent cleansing power. But you let that stuff sit almost like a carpet powder and you vacuum it up, and I promise you that stuff just gets that negativity out of there. Baking soda is a kind of salt, right? Salt repels negativity, or it cleans up negativity. It's going to purify it. You've got the lavender for calming, and the peppermint, that's also protection. So that gets all of that crap out of there. Now, I mix this myself. Like I said, I can put up a little recipe. I ain't got no problem with that. It's very simple, very holistic. If you can handle fragrance, but you can't handle smoke, that would be a good option. Other options is literally dancing, singing, making noise, getting active, putting your own vibration out in a space so that nothing else may cling there. Another really, really, really simple one, and one I really, really, really hate to do, cleaning. Making sure you don't have a bunch of shit on the floor. Making sure your tabletops aren't cluttered. Making sure that, you're getting to dusting maybe once a month. Actually taking the time to respect your space and respect yourself enough that you know that you deserve a clean space. You like having a clean space. Let energy flow. Now, I might not be, any kind of expert on feng shui, but what I have read, what I have experienced with it is when you have a clean space, energy can flow so much easier. And it's not just sticking and stagnant and making things nasty, because stagnation will always lead to rot. So take that time to clean your space, clean your laundry, make your damn bed. You don't have to make your bed every day, but make your bed. It feels good when you have a made bed, doesn't it? It feels good when the sheets are clean. And you can clean your house. You go take your shower, you come out, you're clean. All of that gunk went down the drain. Showering is also a great way for spiritual cleanliness, especially for those that have significant water placements, as far as I have experienced. When you have those significant water placements, you're just more drawn to water to begin with. So having that shower is a way to just melt that shit off your body. Now, does it take some visuals to get there? Possibly. That depends on you. That really, really, really depends on you. So I know I have talked a lot about this, but spiritual hygiene is super, super important because, like I said, we are all incredibly permeable. As much as we want to sit there and say that we are like stone or we are like steel, we are impermeable, we are, you can't get to us, we're protected beyond protected. Your little behaviors day to day can affect your life, and your little behaviors day to day can It affects your spiritual life. So the more mindful you are about your friends and what you surround yourself with, about your food and what you're intaking, about the media that you are seeing, what you're connecting with in terms of divine, making sure your space is cleanly. It's important, and it makes more of an impact than you would think. And if you're somebody that's been going through potentially a depressive spiral, one, I understand. I got you. I've been there. And it's hard to get started. One thing at a time. I don't necessarily need you to go like full spoons out. You give everything that you've got, and then you go and then you can't function for like 3 days. You get it a little bit at a time. Rome was not built in a day. Neither can all of these habits be put into place at once and be effective. Pick one. Work on it. Master it. It'll take time. And then go on to the next. It's not about perfection. It is about effort. We are human. We are not expected to be perfect. Although the idea of perfection overall is a fallacy. Let's be very, very real. But I think I've ranted enough. I think I've gone off on mom mode enough here. So, this is Devi. We were talking about spiritual hygiene on the Open Resourcery. And I will see you guys next time. Y'all have a great night.